Aliana here, and in today's video we're going to talk about your emotional state. We're going to talk about how do you stop feeling anxious and frazzled all the time? How do you stop feeling so overwhelmed with life? And how do you get more often in this state of flow, in this state of ease? Because one thing you'll learn throughout your journey in building your personal brand, or a brand of full self-expression as I like to call it, is that when you are not feeling your best, you are more disconnected from your purpose. You are more disconnected from your passions. You're more disconnected from your creative genius. You are disconnected from, the things that really make you feel alive. And it's not so much that you're disconnected, like you are never disconnected. Actually, it's more like you feel that way. So when you try to think of an idea, your ideas that are coming to you are all limited. They're all in the sphere of survival. They're all powered by fear. They're all rooted in wanting to run away from something or avoid something rather than running towards something. And there's a huge difference between these two things. And look, I'm not sitting on my high horse here. Like, I have a pretty good life, but that doesn't mean I don't experience things that stress me out a lot. And I've gone through way worse in my life, but I am currently actually going through a period in my life where I'm experiencing some challenges, some things that kind of disturb that peace a little bit, or it feels that way. But this has been a great reminder of this topic that I want to talk about today, and why it's so important to talk about this, which is that everything that you seek to feel from the outer world is really only within. And I know this is going to trigger some people who are going to say, you don't understand, my life is really hard, I am going through struggles right now, I am really stressed out. And I hear you. I'm not saying that your life isn't throwing things at you right now that are stressful or difficult. What I am saying is you can eliminate this thing that you think is the source of anxiety or a source of overwhelm or a source of feeling frazzled, only to have life throw another thing at you, because what's happening out there is a reflection of what's happening within. So when you have people who are constantly pressuring you, asking you for, a quick response or demanding too much of you, there's a pretty good chance if you looked within, you'll find that you are doing that to yourself, that you are treating yourself that way in some way or another. And that's why you see that as a reflection in your life. Now, does it mean that you are at fault and that you have to blame yourself? No, this is not a faulting exercise. This is just recognizing that a lot of what we see in our outer world is a reflection of our inner state. In fact, I want to say all of it. I believe it's all of it, but I know that for most people, they're not ready to hear that. The more you treat yourself better internally, the better the reflection is going to be externally. You can try this in your own life to see for yourself. So in this video, I want to help you get back to this place of complete and inner peace, because it is my belief that the emotion is already there. This is your nature, in fact. Okay, so when you feel like you are disturbed by an outside circumstance or event, what's happening is that you are thinking that that is what's causing the emotion, but the reality is you are forgetting that you are inner peace, you are complete peace, and you are looking at the thing that's happening in the outer world and you think it's happening to you. But it's your mental interpretation of what's happening that's causing the emotion that is making you feel disturbed. So you want to first stop saying things like, I am stressed out, I am overwhelmed, I am whatever it is, because then you own it as an identity. First of all, you've given the overwhelm, the anxiety, the whatever sort of characteristics, so it became more real, and then you follow it with an I am statement, effectively making it part of your identity. I am always stressed out and overwhelmed and frazzled. Like, what are the chances, if you believe that about yourself, what are the chances that you're going to be living in flow and ease? Not very high, because you perceive yourself as somebody who gets overwhelmed pretty easily. So the first step is to not say that, to stop saying I am that, and instead say I am experiencing a state of overwhelm. I am experiencing a state of anxiety right now. I am experiencing a state of whatever emotional state that you feel you're struggling with right now. Just by creating separation, you're already on the right path, right? Because you're seeing that you're not that. So then what are you? Who are you if you're not that? Who is the I am? I don't have the answer for you in this video. I don't know if I have the answer for myself, honestly. I know who I am by experience. I don't know that I can explain that mentally, with words. But I will say that part of what you are and who you are is the consciousness that experiences the thing. You experience the state, but you are not the state. And the best way I can explain it is like the ocean and the waves. The emotional state is the wave that happens on the surface of the ocean, but it's not really disrupting the ocean itself. The ocean is the ocean. It's still, it's powerful, it's quiet, and you can observe what's happening on the surface without being so entangled with it that you feel like it has any power over you, because it really doesn't. I know it's hard to see that, and it's hard for me to see that when I'm going through some things sometimes. I'm seeing it more and more, but it doesn't mean that I see it all the time. Absolutely not. Just to be completely honest here. The next thing I want you to do is start noticing what are the things that trigger this emotion of frazzled, anxiety, overwhelmed, afraid, kind of, stressed out state. What triggers it most often? And you'll find that at the root of it, there is some sort of wound that needs to be healed. So if you're somebody who feels like you're not good enough, and maybe you've been abandoned emotionally after making a mistake when you were younger or something, then you'll feel more anxiety when you make a mistake, and you fear that the person you're talking to is going to abandon you in some way. You may not be thinking it consciously, of course not, but subconsciously that's what's happening, is that there is fear there and you have a response to it. That's why some situations stress some people more than others. You might be looking at somebody a friend or a family member, and go like, why? I understand that this is annoying, but I don't understand why you're so bothered by it. Because there is something in there for them, like that's triggering to them and to you as well. The patterns you start to notice when you see what are the things that trigger this stress response in me that isn't really danger, like real danger, it's just perceived threat. And you can bet that there is some wound there that needs to be healed and loved. The next thing I invite you to do is stop asking yourself questions like, how do I stop feeling stressed out? How do I stop feeling overwhelmed? How do I stop feeling stressed out? And instead ask questions like, what is peace? What is the true meaning of inner peace? And how does one achieve inner peace? Or how do I reconnect to my inner peace? And just by asking these questions, the direction of the question is a lot better, because when you're asking, how do I run away from the emotion or the state, you're really operating from a place of wanting to be saved still. You still believe that there's something for you to be saved from. Like this feeling is so bad that you have to run away from it. And it's very important. I know this is not easy. And again, as much as I like to think that I mastered it, I don't think I mastered it. As much as I like to think that I've gotten so much better at this, I know I have a lot of work to do in this area too. This ability to see the thing that's happening and to see that, yeah, like I can see that feels sucky, this thing that's happening, it sucks, it's pretty bad. And yeah, I'm observing the emotion. This is painful in my mind and my heart and my body, and my mind wants to run with it and ask why and all of that, but you just kind of see it with a sense of separation, and you just see it for what it is, that it's not a bad thing. This is key, the ability to see that the emotion is not bad and it's nothing for you to run away from. It's just trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you that something in your life is not working out for you. Something needs to change, or you don't like this particular way of working, or hey, there is healing for you to do in this area. It's a symptom. It's not a bad thing, so it feels bad. I get that. Like, we're not trying to deny that, but it's not a bad thing, and you don't have to be saved from anything. There's no real danger. In fact, the more you can see that it's not bad, the less problematic stress is. So one thing people don't talk about often is that part of why this stuff is so bad for your health, right? Like being stressed out all the time is bad for your health. It's not just the stress, it's the stress you feel about being stressed out. So the anxiety you feel about being anxious, the compound emotion where you feel angry and then you feel angry about being angry, or sad about being sad, or, instead of just allowing space for the emotion to express itself. And this happens when we resist the emotion. So in this example, you resist the emotion and you want to run away from it. So you ask, how do I stop feeling stressed out and overwhelmed all the time? Instead of asking the better question, which is, I'm seeking what do I truly want? And in doing that, you're allowing the space for the emotion to exist. It's okay. Like, yeah, I feel stressed out right now, but what is peace? What is the meaning of peace? And how does one find their inner peace or reconnect with their inner peace? It's a much better quality question and better for your focus and attention. The last couple of things I'm going to talk about in this video are surrender and the energy reboot. So I'll start with the energy reboot, which is something I learned from a creator. His name is George Kao. Shout out to George, great human being. He does like mindful marketing, coaching and whatnot. So there's a lot of resonance between what we do. One of the things I learned from George was the concept of the energy reboot. Now, before I was exposed to his content, I used to like meditate for an hour or two in the morning and stuff. And I'm not by any means saying that I stopped because of George. No, I don't meditate long hours like I used to anymore for different reasons. But he actually gave me a great solution to something that I struggled with before, which is I thought that meditation had to be this long thing, right? Like you have to do it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes at least. And the way he does it is like he does a few seconds, so like literally 30 seconds. And I was like, wait, that's nice. I can do a 30-second meditation. He calls it an energy reboot. And I forgot how he does it, but how I do it is it's pretty much like inspired by his method, right? I just put my hand on my heart and on my belly. It's to kind of like just the rhythm of the breathing is very soothing. And just, just breathing in and remembering that, in this moment, everything is okay. Gratitude for whatever, everything that's going right now, which at any moment, no matter how sucky you think your life is, there's always something that you can be grateful for. And you could do it your way. You could breathe in and remember something that you're grateful for, or just take a few breaths, right? Like just it's the act of pulling back from your daily activities. Like instead of waiting for the perfect timing to do a 1-hour meditation, instead you're taking 30 seconds or 1 minute every hour or every 2 hours. And now the frequency of doing this keeps you constantly centered. So you always go back to this place of inner peace and you remind yourself that everything is well. Instead of pushing and pushing and pushing, and then 3-4 hours later, you realize you've been grinding your teeth the entire time and you're not even aware of how stressed out you are. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe I should go meditate now, or maybe I should take a break. But this allows you to take a step back frequently to remind yourself that everything is okay, and to do an energetic reboot, right? Reboot your emotions. So maybe you're working on something and it's starting to become stressful, and you just go, okay, 30 seconds, that's it, just 30 seconds. Take a step back, take some deep breaths. Don't try to think of a solution in those 30 seconds. This is not about you solving the problem. This is about you just breathing through it, and and then go back as soon as you feel better. Go for a walk. Most emotional states can be balanced by getting a good night of sleep, drinking a glass of water, and going out for a walk in the sun for 10 minutes. Trust me, just do that and watch what happens to your energy. And the final one I wanted to talk about is surrender. This is a big topic. Surrender. What does it mean to surrender? This is why the concept of surrender is so difficult for a lot of people, because we think that if it's going to happen, it's going to be up to me. This is the paradigm that we are raised with in our world. And there's some truth, right? You want to be an active participant in your life. Absolutely. You want to be proactive. You want to be going after the things that you want, pursuing your desires. And you have to claim it. This is how you get what you want in life. You have to claim it. You kind of have to be stubborn about it and be like, I want that. I'm going to get that. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get what I want, right? And be firm in that desire. Like there's something magical that happens when you have that sort of decision that just things just seem to work out much better that way. It's like, okay, fine. I guess you really want this, don't you? So you just kind of get what you want in life. But that doesn't mean that you are so stubborn that you don't understand that sometimes there are lessons to be learned along the way. And it's not up to us to decide that we are ready for something. Desiring and wanting something doesn't mean that you are ready. And there are lots of things that I wished I had earlier in my journey, especially with Brands Are Alive, where I was like, I want things to happen faster. that now I look back and go, you know, I'm so glad that that didn't work out. I'm glad I didn't get what I wanted as quickly as I wanted to get it, because I wasn't ready for it, even though I thought I was. I was not. And if I had it, I would have ruined it. It would have ruined everything. But things happened when I was ready for them. And now I'm able to trust more and more because I can see that. I know this is really hard, okay? This is really, really hard. I'm not asking you to be passive. What I'm asking you is to see that there is a co-creation process. Part of it is you. Part of it is how you show up, the work that you put in, right? The effort that you make. 100% you have to, okay? I hear a lot of spiritual people talk about action is not necessary and whatnot. Maybe you guys are so evolved that you are at that stage where you don't have to do any action and you just close your eyes, you file your nails, and you have multiple 9-figure businesses manifest. That's not necessarily the case for most people, okay? So I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm saying that we have to work with where we are in our state of consciousness. Where I am in my state of consciousness right now, in my stage of growth, where I am is action is not everything. So action is like 10-20% of it, and 80% of it is energy, and 80% of it is what's happening here and here, whatever I don't know, it's outside time and space. But there's action is a big part of it, and action allows me to feel that conviction. And that's how action helps me, but I don't work hard. I do, but I don't do it because it's not a struggle. The work is not a push against my nature. It's like I'm making an effort, but it feels effortless in some way. Don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm doing work, you know, it's a considerable amount of work, but it's effortless. It gives me energy. I work with my nature, you know, I go with ease and flow, and I always advise to grow and scale your business that way, right? Not doing 100%, 110%, do just 80%, right, every day. That's how I see it. But, you know, there's action, and yes, you have to do the action, but also there's the part of not under your control, which we don't like to admit, right? A lot of people don't like to admit that, but there is part of it is not under your control, and this is scary for a lot of people. And what a lot of people do is they avoid their part, their responsibility, and instead focus so much on the things that are outside their control. So I always like to use the example of this seed. Like you plant a seed, you wait for it to grow. There's part of it which is your contribution to the environment, right? Making sure that you give the seed the best chances that it has to grow optimally. But then there's also this other part, which is this is just the time that it takes for the seed to grow. Like this is just the potential of the seed, right? It's not, no matter how great the environment is and no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to make it grow faster than it can grow, and you have to be patient with it and allow it the time and space required for it to be its fullest self-expression. And so think of your growth in the same way. All you can do is all you can do, right? All you can do is what's under your control, which is doing your best. But then there's another part, which is trusting and having faith that things are going to work out, and you know, the things that are not under your control are going to line up properly. Don't worry about them. Put your attention, your focus on the things that are under your control, and look for ways that you can improve your performance there instead of trying to make things go faster than they naturally can. Okay, so it's easy to feel impatient with ourselves, and it's easy to feel impatient with life. It doesn't help that there is a lag between cause and effect. So a lot of times you're going to be putting in a lot of effort, trying really hard, and things taking longer than you expect. It's all part of the game. So if right now you're facing something that's really difficult, right, really challenging, and you're trying your best to maintain your kind of your sanity or your well-being around it, and it feels pretty damn difficult, okay? One thing you can do is surrender it to something outside of yourself. I don't care if you call that thing God, the universe, higher self, or just surrender it, just give it up. I know it sounds crazy to say that, like how do I solve something by giving it away? But it's been my experience, and I invite you to try this in your own life too, that when I'm going through something and it's really challenging and I get hyper focused on it, it's very difficult to solve that problem. But if you get out of it, you know, and you can see it from a different state of consciousness, then it's like so clear. And even if you don't believe in any sort of higher power or higher self, well, first of all, what the heck are you doing watching my videos, right? You know, anyway, but even if you don't, I'm just saying, like, if you don't believe you have a higher self or a universe, like consciousness, universal consciousness, or any of these things, you know, I think you'll agree that it helps to step away from our troubles, our problems, and to be able to see them from a different perspective. So try it. I'll put a link in the description. It's called The Prescription, which is something I advise everyone whenever they're trying to figure out their passion, their purpose, get clarity about anything, to start stepping away from their current state of consciousness, stepping away from the thing so that they can see it from a different perspective. So I'll link to it. Maybe it'll help you gain some clarity. All right, that was this video for today. And to recap, what we talked about is when you're going through a really hard time, when something is incredibly stressful in your life and you're trying your best to quote unquote manage anxiety and manage your stress and all these things. And what I'm inviting you to do in this video is to not manage your anxiety and your stress, because you're not supposed to live with it anyway. Like this idea that life is just like that and we have to deal with it, it's not really true. Yes, there's going to be stuff that triggers those things in you, but you don't have to be affected by it. And you may think that the cause of stress is something that's happening outside of yourself, but really it's a reflection of something happening internally. And if you keep thinking about changing your outside circumstances, well, there's no guarantee that your circumstances are not going to change again and attract anxiety-inducing stuff. So why not reconnect to that place within you that's always at peace and that's always available to you? And to do that, you can do that with your breathing. You can do that by taking a minute out, a time out, whenever you feel that way, to take a step back and refocus on something positive amidst all the chaos, so that you can remind yourself that you can do that by remembering that you are not the state, you are the consciousness that's experiencing the state. And to remind yourself that some things are simply outside our control, and to make peace with that and trust that if you're taking care of the things that are within your control, everything outside your control will line up for you. That was the video for today. My name is Aliana. I am founder at Brands Are Alive, where we create a video like this every week. So if you're a conscious creator and you want to build a brand of full self-expression and a business that makes you feel alive, a business of passion, purpose, and of course financial profitability, then make sure to subscribe to the Saturday Mojo, which is our newsletter. You can go to brandsarealive.com/newsletters. Subscribe for a video like this every week, and I do have amazing plans for the Saturday Mojo subscribers in 2023, so make sure that you're part of that. Thank you for watching. Have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.